Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Skill RPA. As part of the Bots DNA series, in this video we will be discussing about the server creation use case. So here we need to download the input file, and here is my downloaded input file. And we need to select the operating system, RAM, HDD, and the applications. We can have multiple applications here. So we will be selecting those from this screenshot, and we'll be clicking on Create Server button. So once we done that, we will get, let me just select these two. So I'll click on Create Server. So we need to wait till the server is got created. Once server is created successfully, we'll get this information, and we need to send this on an email, whatever the email ID mentioned here. So as part of this video, I'll be skipping this sending of the email, but we are going to cover how we can create this servers, and we'll make the note of the username and password. And we'll print that in the outline instead of sending it in on an email. So without, again, we will be coming back and we'll be going with the next. So without further delay, let us jump into the UiPath studio. Server creation. And main workflow. So opening of the application, we just need to pass on this URL, and we just need to use open browser. So I'm skipping for in this step now, and we'll give the server creation URL, and we'll put the default value, and we'll use the attached browser. So we're not able to see that. So we just need to filter, show classic, attach browser. We selected it. And in the selector, I want to go with the URL, not with the title. Because when we see that when we created a server, the title is keep on changing, and this URL is common, and I have some additional field in the URL. So we'll put the wildcard there, and we'll click on validate, click on save. Now what we need to do is we need to download the file. For downloading the file, I'll use the HTTP request. So I'll go to the manage packages, all packages, UiPath dot web API dot activities. I'll go with this table, click on install, save. So now it got installed. What we'll do is we'll just use get attribute activity. As it got refreshed, we will be losing our classic activities. So we just need to check this again, and HTTP request. We click on OK. And before that, we need get attribute. And we'll identify this. And we'll select the HREF from the drop down. And we can just create str endpoint. And in the HTTP request, what we are going to do is we are going to put server creation URL plus str HTTP endpoint. And the file which I want to store is input.xlsx. And I'll just copy this, and we'll be using that for read range. Go with the read range workbook. I'll be putting that, and the sheet name is sheet 1. And this is the input data. So we'll use dt underscore input data. Now we'll loop through each row of this. We'll click enable here. For each row in data table, dt input dash row. So here we need to select. Everything is select, but it is a drop down. Here it is a radio button, and here it is a checkbox. So for the drop downs, the activity is select item, and for the radio box and check boxes, it is check activity. So first, let us go with the select. So we'll be going with the select item. Identify this. RAM size. Check. So like for these two, we'll directly pass on the values which needs to be selected from the drop down. But here we identified only one radio button. And what we need to take is, need to take the name. Okay. Click on validate. And now we get the IDX as well. So we should come out of the IDX. So for that, let us select this as well. Still we are getting the IDX. So let me do one thing. Let me remove this and let me select the row name and remove the table row, because I don't want to go on top of numbers till the time I have the names, and the type is radio. And let us remove this IDX now again and try to validate. Now I lost the IDX, so I have stable selected now. So click on save. Okay. So here we need to create a variable for HDD, str HDD. And here in the selector, we need to pass on this HDD. Let us see, it is like with the GB and TV, right? So what we will do is we'll just select this, in the right click, use variable, and we'll select that HDD. So that whatever we are passing it from the Excel, that will be checked. And now we need to go with the applications. So here, if you remember, if you see right, it is like multiple checkboxes. So there might be a possibility that we can have more than one application. All these selections are single selections, but here it is multi-selection. So for that, what we will do is we will use for each activity. And here we will split this with the comma separated, because all the applications are with the comma separated. So here we will write row of the column name dot split, sorry, dot toString dot split with comma. And my type argument is string. And now we will use the check. And let me go to the website. So now we identified the checkbox and we'll see the selector. So we have the table row. So we doesn't want to go with the table row. And also it is saying that vehicle, but not, we don't have anything vehicle in this. So I don't want to go with non-reliable values. So the row name is select applications, and checkbox is fine. So I need this names. I could not able to find the names. So I'll just remove this. IDX and try to see. Pretty sure we won't get that. Oops, we get it. Because I was worried because I'm not getting the name of this. So how I can identify it? We'll see, like in case if we have some value, it's not working out, right? So what I will do is I'll just come here and try to indicate the again. Let us see what I have in the below. That is like 4, and here it is IDX2. IDX3. We're going with the IDXs, but not except the IDX. Nothing is changing. And there might be a possibility that if application names are got swapped, then we will be in a different position. Hmm. So here we get that. So here we have this, and here we have the name of that as well. And we can try with this. Select application name, and table row is not required. So let me refresh this. Let's highlight. The problem is we are getting a name, but we are not getting the checkbox. So if I come here, do I find any checkbox here? This we have, but we are not having the name. So in that case, what we will do is we will take this table data, and now it is giving the complete. If I go up, it is not accepting. Let us see what we have here. Do we have the name here? No. So what we can do is we can use the anchor base activity here. Directly instead of having this. The action is to check. edit selector. Sorry. First, I need to use find element. This will be my anchor. I can go to this. I'll select the name. Remove this, add this. So this is my element as an anchor, and I want to go for the selector. Check. Okay, let us see. Let us see how it is going on. At least for one activity, we'll get to know because we have two applications, right? So we'll see whether it is selecting the things or not. So I don't want to save this. And what I want to do is I'll just come out of this once selection is done, right? But here we taken the HDD, so we need to assign that variable. Assign str HDD. Let me open this input file and see. Yeah, row of HDD. Row of HDD dot toString. And here I need to pass on row of OS of OS dot toString. Here it will be RAM. Row of dot toString. And here in this selector, we need to pass on the variable. It was already done. Perfect. But here in the find element, we need to pass on the current item, the application name. And how that? So what we will do is we'll just see, say application name. Here we'll use that as an activity. And application name, we will just use current item. When I come out of that, once I did only one, so that we'll see whether it is working as expected or not. And let me close this. And now let us run the workflow. We'll see. So the bot execution started. Even the radio button is not working, I guess. So looks like that is not supporting the existing. So we got the error, or we are about to get the error. Let us see. For the radio button, sometimes the check will work, and sometimes we may need to go with the click. So we'll see that. We'll say ignore and go for the next. And into that, we got the application name, and let us see identified, and the checkbox is done. Came out again. So let me come here. So it selected Adobe 7-zip, but Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader was not selected. So I don't know why. Let us see why it was happened. So instead of that, let us go with the click relative. Because this is not working out for me, what I will do is, let me see. It is saying that 500 GB. but we have 500 GB. Let us indicate on the screen again. And let us go to the selector. I don't want to go with IDX because going with IDX is not the right way. So we'll select this, and we don't have anything in between, right? Name, HDD app, HDD size, remove the variable row, and click on validate. Type radio, click on validate. Why do I get this IDX again and again? Highlight, which is 250, fine. So I want to go with 500 now. Validate, it is not coming up. So let me cancel this. No, you open in your Explorer. Let us do one thing. Let me do one thing. Let me identify here. Which is of 250 GB. And we get all these details, right? And click on this 500. Let us try to understand the difference. Still, it is giving 250. Oops. It's not working as expected. There is a complexity here. So what I will do is, go to the settings. Let me disable the modern experience because I want to go with the classic only. There is a complexity in all these applications. We just created a sequence in order to see the things are working or not. Let me go to the web, click, mouse, click relative. Save and exit. Or else what I'll do is I'll use anchor here. Here it will be find element. Just see the selector. Edit selector. I'll go with the name. And here it is, click. $500. Click on OK. Run this. Should change from 250 to 500. If that is working, then my workflow is like working as expected. So it is working now. So we can use this in order to have selecting the input data. So I'll remove this. And here, instead of 250, 500 GB will pass the variable of HDD. Okay. And this is done. So what I want to go with this is like, this is not working, right? So I'll come here, here itself. I'll use the find element as this. Edit selector will take the name. Inner text, validate. Save. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll just identify this. Does it run this? So it is done, but I want to go with the Adobe Reader instead of 7G. Input, validate, working. Let me run this flow. So it is working. So now what I will do is instead of click, I'll use check. Run this. I want to give the Google Chrome as well, and let me change that here in the variable. Why I'm getting the issue when I'm saying Google Chrome? What actually the difference? Oh, there is a space. Okay, then what should I do is I'll just put asterisk on both the sides in case if any spaces are there, then that will be resolved. So let me run now. Instead of Adobe, now Google Chrome also should be checked. Checked. And let me give 7-zip now. Okay, and debug. So now this is working as expected. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this and I'll just put that here. And now we will pass the application name instead of this. Okay, now let us run this flow and see whether it is selecting the required data or not. Execution is started. So it worked for me. Perfect. So now I can remove this break and we'll click activity. Click on create server. The selector create server name is there. That is fine. Say, let me delete the sequence. So we just need to find some alternate ways how we can do the automation on top of an existing application if we are not finding the proper way data of it. So click on create server and see. And here, what we need to do is we need to check whether element is available or not before we move to the next server created successfully. We'll identify that because server is there. So that should be good enough. Let me see if my browser is not working. It is not working. Why? BotsDNA server slash indicator on screen URL. on validate. And what I will do is I'll come back here, server. Now it will not work, but if I remove this and put asterisk, is this working? No. Why? Let me take this URL and create server. If you see, all right, it is HTTPS, but here it is HTTP. So there is a slight change here. So I'll put a question mark here and I'll remove this because it is only one character. Click on validate. Why? BotsDNA.com server slash create server. Or else what I will do is I'll just put asterisk here. Oh, might be because of that. Let me do one thing. Let me remove all the data between here and click on validate. Oh, I have the title, which is not required. Can come out of it. Click on validate. So now come here, open this. I'll take the URL and untick the title. Now I got this. So what I observed is here there should be a question mark and here it should be an asterisk, and let us click on validate. Oops. Instead of question mark, let me go with asterisk here as well and click on validate. It is working now. Let me go back and see if this is working or not. This is working. So click on save. So now my selector is tuned as per the requirement. So in case if this element is available, which means my server creation is done. So now we'll go to the edit selector. So this is fine. And what I will do is I'm just putting, so we can put some condition here to check whether this element, if the element is not available, what actually we need to do. So here I'm not putting anything, but we can put that like whether the server is success message is received or not. If not, we can just throw error, or like we can just log that message as well. So now our process is set to go, and we'll see whether we could able to run for all the other use cases or not. Oops. So I have done a mistake here. This create server and this navigation both should come out of this for each loop, because we need to select each product and then we need to do the actions. So it is fine. And here it is not thus. Here it is server creation URL. We need to go back to that page. So let us go back and refresh. So here is my page, and now we will run this flow. I'm facing some issues because of some the subtitles and all. It is not allowing me to click on that directly from with the hardware. So we will do that again by changing the input type for that to the simulate click. So now my mouse cursor will not be used and it will work as expected now. So you may not able to see it, but it is getting created. The element is like available there. It's like there is some another issue as well. Again, let us see if we are getting some issue. Looks like there is some issue we got. The RAM selection, it went wrong. Let us see. It is 8 GB. We go to the input file. This is correct. 8 GB is correct. Because server 2008 R2. Yes. Oh, we have the space here. And here we don't have. So we need to trim the spaces, whatever we have with our data. So even for this also, we'll use the trim now. Trim. We'll use the trim. Dot trim. So we use trim in all the areas. So now the things should work as expected. But here, the element exists not wait and on image appear. Okay, fine. So before navigating, if I want to see the screen, so I kept it is like complete ready. And so I'll just put some delay here for 1 second or 2 seconds, just for my sake of understanding that I could able to see. So now let us run this flow. Again, we are facing some issue. Looks like there is some problem with the data. Why find element was lost? May know the reason. And what is the data for it? 1000 TB. We don't have 1000 TB. It is 1 TB. It was supposed to be. So the data itself is wrong. So what we can do is we can just print if we could not able to get the data. So we'll do the exception handling now. So we'll just put the try catch. Log message. We'll just put a log message for now, and which is an error. Server creation failed for First row of dot to string. And we'll put the one message here that the server creation is successful. Before we are navigating, success. And this will be at info level. So now we are done with everything. So let us run the file again. Let us see whether it is going for the next record by skipping the existing record. It is going. So what I want to do is see anyhow, like we could not able to see what output we are getting, right? And even mouse cursor is getting used when we are selecting the HDD. So I'll just make some modifications here and then we'll execute it again. So we could able to see the request here. And what I want to do is we check the element edges and we'll select this and we'll capture the text so that we'll get the confidence that it is getting executed. Because before we are getting this page, we are coming out of it, right? So we will use get text activity. The IP address. We'll take only IP address, nothing else. Other things are not required. So I'll use this here. Okay, we'll go with the numbers only. That is fine for now. So here we will write the IP address, not the request ID. So now we will get to know what all are getting executed properly. So this is my server and now let us run this flow. Oops, we thought of like not to use the mouse cursor again, right? So here for this click activity, we will use simulate. Run the flow. Now it should work. So let it get executed in the background and let us see the output panel. So we are getting the IPs, which means like the servers are getting created, but we are not waiting till the page is completely loaded as the bot could able to get the information or the server creation notification successful status. So it is now retrieving the IP address. So now the third one will fail as we know because we have 1000 TB inside the record input data, but we don't have that 1000 TB to select from here. So this will fail and it will go for the next record. And this is how we can automate this server creation. So it is working for 2 TB and multiple product applications. and different combinations. And in case if any error is occurred, it is giving me the log message so that I can go back and check for this request message, request ID, what data we have provided it. And so this is how we can automate this server creation use case from the bots DNA portal. Hope this video will help you. Please subscribe to Skill RPA YouTube channel and also hit the bell icon.